You don't have to prepare lessons for homeschooling. I homeschooled for 13 years, had 9 children, and never prepared lessons at all. Recently, I was doing a private consult with a mom, and she asked how she can keep from being overwhelmed while homeschooling her 3 children. She said the study and preparation she has to do for the homeschool curriculum, taking the time to teach each day, helping each of them with their homework, their schoolwork, getting supplies together for the experiments and projects they're supposed to do in each subject, having meals prepared, and then doing housework and laundry is so much she is burning out fast. Just listening to her to describe what she does wore me out. But from what she said, I could see very quickly that she is overdoing it in the first place. Homeschooling does not have to be so rigid, and there's a very easy way to make sure that you're covering all your bases without preparing lessons ahead of time. Here's a few quick steps to make homeschooling easy without preparation. Number 1, don't start formalities too early. Another mom was asking about what curriculum she should get to homeschool her 3-year-old. My answer was colorful stacking shapes and blocks, letter puzzles, Play-Doh, sidewalk chalk, books from the library, tennis shoes for playing outside, and music that teaches letters, sounds, and numbers and stuff, and etc. A child who's under 5 does not need to sit down and start reading or writing. They need to play, and they will learn skills while they do that. Starting formal homeschooling before that can make them not like it at all. That brings us to number 2. Make play a lesson. For really young ones, use letter puzzles, and as each letter is put in the puzzle, say the name of the letter and the sounds it makes. Count the blocks as you and your child stack them up in a tower. Talk about the colors of the blocks and help them put them in categories according to color. Dance with music that sings the days of the week and the months of the year. All this is just playing, but they are learning the whole time. This is homeschooling too. Number 3, focus on the basics. As they get to be about 5 or 6, focus on the 3 R's, meaning writing, reading, and arithmetic. By doing this, it opens up the whole world of other things that your child will learn. So from the very start, keep in mind that once they learn those 3 basics, you have accomplished what is needed for them to take off into the world of educational possibilities, and you no longer have to be their main source of learning. Think about it. Once they can read, won't you be able to give them resources and they can accomplish a lot on their own? So don't spread yourself thin. Focus on those things first. Number 4, don't make homeschool a form of school at home. This is usually a rookie mistake, so if you have been homeschooling for any length of time, you probably have already discovered this part. Homeschool is not supposed to be like going to school, except doing it in your home. It's supposed to be a different experience than that. There's no need to start the day off with roll call, the Pledge of Allegiance, and announcements. Instead, think about sitting on your couch, relaxing, and reading a book to your kids, or around your kitchen table and having discussions with your children about whatever comes up in the books that they're working on at the time. They don't need to raise their hand and stand in line, right? So remember, this is not school, it's homeschool, which is not the same thing. Number 5, grades don't matter. What? I'm sure some of you are all into grades and are probably gasping at the very thought. But it doesn't matter if they get an A on a paper, as long as they know the subject well enough. In fact, I never really graded my children's work in that way. If they didn't get an A, we weren't done. In other words, keep in mind what the point of teaching your children is. You're teaching them at home so that they will learn, and you want them to learn this subject. That's what matters. A formal grade isn't really necessary, especially in the elementary school levels. Formal grades were developed to find a way for measuring how well a student was doing in a classroom setting. But at home, you don't have to do formal grades at all unless you just want to. I didn't want to, so we didn't do that. I would just ask my children questions and talk with them about a subject, or see that they did the questions at the end of the chapter in their school books once they got older. If you're homeschooling high school students and they plan to attend college, you can keep grades if you like. But the children I had that went on to college after homeschooling just got their GED or high set and then went to college anyway. They did just fine. They started at community college and then transferred to a university to finish their degrees. Some of mine attended private Christian school after 9th grade too. So it's up to you how you want to do it. But generally, in the younger grades, there's not a real need to do a formal grading system. Number 6, let the books do the work. When I first started homeschooling, I was completely overwhelmed with the huge number of homeschool curriculums available, the supplemental courses, the projects, etc., etc., etc. My first homeschool fair, I bought everything in sight, and I had big ambitions about how I was going to teach every subject under the sun. That was another rookie mistake. In fact, after the first couple of years, I never went back because I already had so much I didn't need to. In the end, most of what I bought, I sold later without ever using it. But the very best thing I ever got was these huge workbooks entitled Everything You Need to Know in Kindergarten, Everything You Need to Know in First Grade, Everything You Need to Know in Second Grade, etc. And I actually got those first at Sam's Club. Those were so awesome. I didn't have to do any preparations at all. Each of these books was organized with the main subjects of reading, spelling and phonics, writing, math, history, and science, in such a way that one page was reading on both sides, and then you would just rip that page out and have them read it, discuss it briefly, and have them fill out any questions on it. The next page was writing on both sides. The next page was math, then history, then science. There were nice colorful illustrations and interesting little cartoons on the pages as well, having to do with the subject being covered. All I had to do was get that workbook out for each child, tear out the pages they were supposed to do for that day, and take a few minutes to talk it over with them if needed. No prep at all. They would do those worksheets throughout the day, and then we were done with the formal part of the day. Each sheet usually took a few minutes for them to do, so it wasn't long and drawn out, but it covered the things they needed to learn. And it was so simple. They're easily found online, and I'll also put a link in the description below so you can find some that way too. Number 7, learn along with them. One of the things a woman was asking me about once was how I teach things I don't know myself. That's not a problem. Learn with them. Instead of taking time to read ahead and prepare yourself so that you know, why not read it with them and discover new things together? That's okay, right? And that doesn't take preparation. So what if you don't know all about the details of the Civil War or the intricate systems of the cell? Why not read the information together with them or watch a program about those things and discuss it afterwards? There's no real need to read it ahead of time, is there? That just takes you twice the time, and it's not necessary. Number 8, supplement. So we had the workbooks that would take us through all the things for each grade level, and then I knew the basics were covered. Once that was done, we would go to the library so they could choose books to read that they wanted to and that they were most interested in, with my supervision, of course, which is even more important now. We also had the history and discovery channels, and we would have them watch things like This Day in History, or How It's Made, or Bill Nye the Science Guy, before he went woke, of course. We watched programs about space and nature and the Civil War series and etc. All this kept them interested and engaged in learning. The girls worked on index cards files with recipes from the Taste of Home magazine, which was fun. We also had computer games that taught typing and math and history. One favorite was the Oregon Trail, and another one, Mavis Beacon Typing. I would not suggest doing online school only though. It's my view that children shouldn't go through school all online. Use books, activities, field trips, and games to teach them, and then supplement with some computer so that they will be good at using it. Obviously, that's important in the world we live in today. So just find their interests and implement them into what you're doing each day using supplements that are easily available and free. Number 9, give them chances to socialize often. Get your children involved in youth groups at church, in sports teams, or other things like martial arts, ballet, or music groups. You could get them involved in an ROTC or 4-H club, for example. Find things for them to do with those outside the home so they can get experiences working and playing with others. This is another reason church is a great resource for socialization of homeschoolers, because it's a place they go at least once or twice a week interacting with the world outside of their own home. Number 10, relax. Keep in mind, if they don't get something done today, it's okay. If you get sick, you have a doctor's appointment, you want to go on vacation, there's an activity that becomes available you just found out about or whatever, don't be bogged down. Be flexible. If they don't get a worksheet done that day, that's okay. They can do it tomorrow. And 10 years from now, it won't matter if they did it on Tuesday or Thursday or next month. What's going to matter is that you and your children had a good experience homeschooling and there wasn't a constant stress and overwhelming feeling of time pressure going on. Relax and enjoy the time with your children and let them enjoy it too. If you're having a hard time getting your child to enjoy learning, take a look at the card on the screen now and learn about how to get your child excited about schooling at home. And please remember to subscribe. Parents, you can do this. I hope to see you here next time.